like they are favoring triple tank plus a soldier with the sort of variety tank being D.Va here. D.Va's a little bit interesting here for Eichenwald A just because the high ground is not so crazy like a Numbani point A or something like that where D.Va makes a little bit more sense. So I'm curious why the D.Va over like a Roadhog, which of course can be just a huge presence on any point against a dive composition, which it looks like Rogue is loading up for the attack.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Zom's back on that 76. He didn't have much success yesterday with on the 76, so he played a bit of D.Va, if I'm not mistaken, there to try to deal with the Far Mercy we saw a lot of on Ilios. But to get things started, AKM going to be on the Pharaoh, like you had mentioned, with that really dive-heavy composition. We'll have to see how FaZe can deal with it to get this one underway.
Well, already you've got Genji and Pharah leaping into the skies to try and take that high ground advantage. Tracer already working way toward the point. So the three tanks in the core here are basically just running protection for Zoms, it seems, as he's going to be the bulk of their damage output. He's going to find Lucio very
Zom's
quickly.
Fighting. Yeah, that's a nice pickup for them, getting rid of the Lucio. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Rogue just back off of this for the time being. That's actually exactly what they're going to go ahead and do. So nice pickup for Zoms. Gets him up to about 46% on his ultimate. Definitely a solid start. AKM making the switch as well. He goes over to a 76, so he's going to be at a severe disadvantage compared to Zoms.
Well, I'm watching Nico's POV right now. He's really not doing a whole lot as Genji so far. I'm still trying to build up that Dragon Blade and still kind of under the curve, I'd say. But the first push was kind of deflected pretty easily. So now that they're going to dive right back in, Nico looks for Zoms actually getting exploded there by Nox's Winston. So the attackers really do have a little bit of opportunity here.
Yeah, they actually go ahead and toss that nano boost onto Mikey A. He finds a pick onto the Winston as well. That's a nice pickup coming out for these guys, who's still pretty healthy in this team fight with Zoms coming back into the mix. Oh, Shadowburn actually going to be taken down. Nico does have that Dragon Blade at the ready. Up to see if he wants to go ahead and use that. He's going to bring it out now, looking for one. Finds the D.Va, but the rest of the squad able to clean this one up. Joshi and Rogue should be able to take care of business and get this.
Well, when you get 5 elims in about 3 seconds, it's usually pretty good for your team. They get the second tick there, and soon to be the third. They're going to get obviously more time for the second stretch. But I'm more interested. More interested in seeing. Excuse me, guys. Nico is going to be moving forward. I want to see what he's able to do to deflect the defenders and keep them away from that high ground. But just the Genji is not going to be enough, of course, as D.Va just kind of trumps up there and takes control for the defenders.
Honestly, not the worst defense from FaZe. I mean, they held off about a minute 40. I didn't expect them to be able to even hold off that long, given what happened yesterday there. So, you know, a decent hold at that. Still holding onto a few ultimates as well. Zom's ready to go with that tac visor. No nano boost just yet. Raucus closing in on that one, but they should have the advantage moving into this next fight.
Well, the tactical visor, I was going to say, will heavily benefit the defenders, but Zoms just leaps down onto the low ground right away and almost gets chunked to death. There he is going to get punched in the face while his tactical visor is active. So defense losing that soldier and his ult is pretty rough, but it does seem that the cart is still in their control. Fact Fiction on the cart as that Reinhardt being kept up by Anna from afar.
Oh, there's a shatter coming out from Fact Fiction. He's going to be taken down, though. Unfortunately, he was just a little too low there. Raucus as well on the payload. He's going to be dropped. I'm a little surprised he didn't actually use the nano boost onto Fact Fiction to give him that damage reduction. I think maybe they could have tried to clean that one up with that. But Zoms as well, he's trying to peek his head around the corner. Can't do that against Nico, who has another Dragon Blade who's finally taken care of. But the rest of Rogue just continuing to move forward with the payload.
Wow, Soon survives as Tracer there with only 7 HP before hitting the rewind and saving himself. He's got a Pulse Bomb loaded up, and attackers do have plenty to work with here. Defense has a Graviton Surge to try and hold them up, but the cart itself has been moving for a pretty steady clip now. Primal Rage is going to be used here by Nox to try and secure the checkpoint.
Can they even get to the checkpoint, man? They're just going to... they can't even contest this one. Dragon Blade comes out from Nico. He picks up a kill. Like you mentioned, the Primal Rage from Nox just tearing these guys apart. And Rogue now 4 minutes and 23 seconds to finish out the remaining part of Eichenwald. Plenty of time to do just that.
Soon's already up in the defenders' faces along with Winston. There's a sticky on the Pulse Bomb with Raucus and Shadowburn both getting taken out.
And Rogue, as expected, just denying any possible defense to come out from the side of FaZe. They have a few ultimates to work with. Shadowburn's ready to go with that Graviton Surge, but I think he needs a little bit of charge before he actually breaks it out here. Not able to find much at all to get things started, but they're going to look to make an engagement off of it.
A couple of ults on both sides. Graviton Surge still at the ready. There it does grab a few people, but Genji himself just dashes right out. Transcendence will be triggered to make sure nobody dies, but finally FaZe does get some kills, and the cart stops moving all the way from the beginning of the second stretch. It got to this point very, very close to the finish line.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that they were able to find the kills into the Transcendence. It's a little unfortunate that Nico actually dashed out of that one and then got taken down. And thankfully for the side of FaZe, they were able to actually hold on to a couple of ultimates. Only needed to use that Graviton Surge to clean that one up. But still, they have that Nano Visor coming out from Zombs. Last time, he didn't really get anything accomplished with his Stack Visor. It was just immediately shut down because Unko had the Transcendence out on top of him. So he's going to go ahead and drop this one right now, looking for something as they charge into it. Finds no kills, a lot of damage, finally finds one with the Helix, and they should be able to just back off of it.
Yeah, I think Rogue just kind of walked into that one. A couple of ultimates were available that actually didn't even need to be used. Sound Barrier and Earth Shatter still being retained here for the defenders gives them another potential minute of safety here when AKM only has the Tactical Visor coming in. But Soon's Pulse Bomb, we've already seen him get great efficiency with that. We'll see if he can do it again here for Rogue. All they have to do really is win one fight to complete this map.
You gotta remember wins as well as closing in on a Sound Barrier. There's an Earth Shadow coming out from Fact Fiction. Is able to hit one. The charge, no, he's actually booped out of the charge. Finds the kill as anyhow onto Soon there. Dragon Blade now out for Nico, trying to find something, but it's into another Sound Barrier from Forsaken. He finds absolutely no value off of that whatsoever. And Rogue, again, might be forced to just back off and look for a regroup.
Still just trying to break down that Reinhardt shield is, of course, a nice thing to do for dive comps when you don't have that 2,000 health barrier in your way, but Genji again dashes out of the Graviton Surge. This is another one actually developed quite quickly there by Shadowburn to be able to use it in just actually like a minute and a half, so good job here for the defense. They, let it get all the way to the pressure area, but finally have been battling back. It's a good thing they didn't drop the ball when there was still 3.5 minutes left on the clock.
Nico used his Dragon Blade in that last fight, and he's at 80% again,
Jeez.
Joshi. That is unbelievable, how much damage he was able to punch out after that. A lot of that was actually out of Fact Fiction, who was just getting good heals from Marcus to keep him alive. But Zombs finds a late pick there on the wins. They're just going to be forced to get a full regroup. 130 remaining, not a lot of time to work with if you're Rogue, especially with how good FaZe is looking here for this third point defense.
That was actually a really clutch kill onto the Lucio. It slowed them down immensely, and now they're under a minute and a half, so if they had 2 pushes before, now they only have 1, really. So this is going to be a high-pressure situation. Expect to see a lot of ults flying out on both sides. Nico, as you said, has been incredibly good with the Genji, so I'm going to take his POV just to see if Rogue attack in at some awkward angle. They have to get past the Reinhardt and the D.Va is the tricky part here.
Yeah, Forsaken as well is closing in on another Sound Barrier. He had that the last time he had a Dragon Blade, so they're on pretty much far for the most part. There's the Nano Visor, though, from Zombs. It's into a Transcendence, immediately picks up 2 kills before AKM returns fire with one of his own, but not able to actually clean up the rest of the team, Josh. And again, they're going to just be forced back off of this one. 40 seconds, not much time at all here for Rogue.
Yeah, and Soon just drives straight into the defenders so that he can be killed off and rejoin his team there in spawn. All they've got to do is cross this bridge together, but 30 seconds is not a ton of time to work with. Not to mention these tanks have been playing so well, and Earthshatter still available. Shadowburn almost on his 3rd Graviton Surge in about 3 minutes.
Soon is going to have to come up big with the Pulse Bomb if they want to be able to get something going. A Graviton Surge, though, from Shadowburn. Self-destruct is out there. Pulse Bomb actually doesn't find anything, though. Nox will be the first to fall as Fact Fiction found that kill for him. There's Zombs as well. Earthshatter comes down again. This should be FaZe cleaning this one up and securing the defense here.
Wow, Fact Fiction lived there with under 50 health long enough to Earthshatter and help his team gather up those kills. Overtime will tick down, and Rogue are not successful despite just blazing a path through the second stretch there all the way to the throne itself. FaZe finally do hold on, and that Graviton Surge from Shadowburn really is what kind of got the scales tipped back the other way. He held on to it for a long time, but the first time he used it obviously made a change of pace there.
Yeah, now we get to see what FaZe is able to do here on offense. As that 3rd checkpoint, Joshi, even despite the change that came like a couple patches back, it's still very, very difficult to get, I think, especially with that defensive spawn being so close. But even so, Rogue really struggled to actually find a team even close to a Team 5 victory. I mean, they were just getting stomped by FaZe's defense. I don't think they picked up more than a couple of kills after that 2nd checkpoint was actually obtained.
All right, well, we are going to switch sides here and go ahead and look at what the defenders are coming out the gates with. It is just going to be dive again, really. Zombs hovering the Orisa for the attackers, but I really don't expect to see that, of course. Really, Orisa's only shown up in places where environmental kills are possible up to this point, at least in pro play.
Yeah, really haven't seen a whole lot of that, unfortunately. Doubt we're going to see it here from Zombs, of course. But on defense, it looks like Rogue want to pretty much go with what they ran before, Joshy. I don't know. What are you expecting from these guys? Do you think FaZe are going to be able to actually come through with this first checkpoint? Because Rogue pretty much stomped them throughout the first two, but like I'd mentioned, that third checkpoint can be rather difficult to get. So what are you thinking for this push?
Well, who knows? I mean, it's really a battle of the soldiers, I think, is a big part of it, and being able to just keep themselves alive. Like, one Helix rocket obviously can just kind of ruin your day there, but AKM and Zombs are really, really big tools here on both sides, and especially with Zombs playing from behind 3 tanks, if they are going to be leaving the spawn room with this, he's going to be the biggest source of damage. So if they focus him out and remove him from the equation early, it's going to be tough. So I think if they're going to treat Zombs like a football going in for a touchdown, they need to really, really protect him.
Well, they're going to keep him on that 76, and of course, Shadowburn going to be sticking with the Zarya pick here and help them secure that 3rd point defense as they are looking for a little poke back into that back line onto Unko. Not quite able to find it here, as we are going to see Nox potentially dive in a little bit, looking for a little damage. Gets hit with a bio grenade, though. Going to force him all the way back. Maybe an opportunity for Fact Fiction to look for a charge.
Well, so far, no blood shed just yet. Everyone's still looking pretty healthy as FaZe try to figure out, oh, they actually need a pause. So maybe that's why they didn't commit to a push just yet. 40 seconds are already burned off.
Yeah, I mean, that was maybe okay with it apparently being a little bit of a latency issue there. You gotta wonder though, 40 seconds off the clock and they're not even like attempting to make a push. Were they really, thinking, okay, do we need a pause? Because usually you just call a pause immediately, especially in this kind of situation here. So I'm really wondering what FaZe are thinking if they want to move in here, because they're struggling to find a window, I think, to maybe move Fact Fiction in. Because as soon as he seems to move in, it's Nox that's just sitting all on top of him. They're gonna have to follow up with a nice bio grenade, I think, to be able to capitalize.
Yeah, well, just looking from my POV here during the pause screen, I see 5 members of FaZe are together. Lucio's kind of off to the side, but I don't really have a good look at the defenders. In Nico's POV, he's just kind of tossing shurikens into them. But if Fact Fiction is able to find a good charge, maybe as his barrier starts to go down, or if Mikey A can really get in the face of AKM, perhaps they'll have a good chance to take A. I don't know. There's no ults available, obviously, for either side.
Yeah.
So it's really anyone's game at this point. And there's no Roadhogs either, which is always like my biggest pick for looking at who's going to win a dry fight with no ultimates, since he has like the biggest instant kill potential.
Well, Raucus is about double what we see from Unko in terms of Ana ult charge, and I think that could be very big, halfway through this fight, should they be able to keep themselves alive, being able to throw that onto like Fact Fiction or Zombs or something like that. So potentially looking for that as we do wait for these guys to let us know that they're good to go, Joshy. Big match, I think, for the side of FaZe. I mean, they're at 1 and 2 in the standings here, so I honestly dropping to 1 and 3, not going to be looking good for them if they lose out to Rogue in this best of 3.
Yeah, so I agree. Obviously, FaZe are in a tough spot right now, and if they can't get past Rogue, which are, again, kind of the favorites for the group, it's going to be very tough for them to finish out. But we've got Nico again on the Genji here, just lobbing shurikens back into those tanks as we resume the game, looking to see if Reinhardt's going to try and lead the charge there. It looks like his shield must have been low, as he didn't really start walking forward as I expected. But I'm just going to take a look at AKM's positioning here to see if he's a nice safe soldier. It looks like he is.
Well, Raucus now at 96 on his ult. We're going to see Nox actually jump into the back line, look for a little bit of a commit. Nice bio grenade comes out from Raucus, but it's soon the first to actually go down here. So this is the window they're looking for. Both 76s ready to go with those stack visors.
Watching Shadowburn's POV now, actually full health, super high energy, just blasting into AKM there. And the tactical visor from Zombs, of course, is going to get a lot of value with Nico and Nox both going down. You've got Wins on the cart trying to contest, but again, Shadowburn just kind of chases him down there, and it's an easy capture. 30 seconds after the pause, they find themselves capturing point A here, and the defenders, it looks like a lot of them did spawn pretty quickly here, so they are going to be able to establish a defense. And Soon is actually on the cart right now contesting, tossing out pulse bombs.
Yeah, they're actually looking to go full commit onto this. Unko made the change over to the Zenyatta. They find a pick there. There's a Primal Rage as well coming out from Nox. Sound Barrier to secure this one. And what do you know? Rogue back in this. They go ahead and pop everything. I don't know if the tactical visor was actually necessary. Joshy, AKM, a little overkill. But in the end, they do secure this one. It's still 2:10 was off that clock from 1.
I am flabbergasted that basically I just randomly switched over to Soon's Tracer to see where he was setting up, and he's actually still on the point throwing pulse bombs out. It was enough, obviously, to get the momentum there for the defenders. Rogue returning, and that's the benefit of the dive composition. Everyone's really fast, so they're able to get back to the point quickly enough. And you've got Shadowburn with a Graviton Surge ready to go, but Zoms is already dead. Shadowburn falls as well.
Self-destruct is out there. AKM can't get away, unfortunately, but the rest of the team is able to clean this one up, Joshy. And they don't use anything, I don't think. They forced out the Graviton Surge from Shadowburn, and I think that was just bad positioning. Zoms was caught out. He was on the side. He wasn't with the rest of the team. And Nox and Soon really capitalizing on that.
Well, Rogue suddenly find themselves in a great position to try and full hold here. There's less than a minute left. I think they've got reasonable ults for being able to hold again here with Fact Fiction's Earthshatter. If they can really find anything for FaZe, I think they can perhaps get inside. But Dragon Blade and Transcendence pretty much match what they've got on the attackers. And
yeah, it's going to be big for them actually moving in here. But you got to remember, like you said, they have that Earthshatter and Nano Boost as well. And they're really struggling again, Joshy, to find an entry point here. They just keep losing the shield. He's now, I mean, that shield is just being drained down from Fact Fiction, and they're all spread out. They're all along the walls. He can't find an opportunity to use his Earthshatter. He's going to bring it down. Hits two, but the Transcendence is out. So is Nico here with the Dragon Blade.
We've got Nico's Dragon Blade getting right in the face of Zoms, but he is able to defend himself admirably with the Nano Visor. Of course, it's a little bit easier to withstand that, but Zoms is actually lighting people up even after the Visor ends. Pretty accurate stuff there, especially with the Helix Rocket, and AKM Soon are killed off a second time, actually, capturing point A, at least from what we thought was going to happen. So Zoms, actually this time, the stagger on the defense is much better, and Zoms can get on the high ground as Soldier right off the bat.
So the difference there was 2 minutes originally to 3 seconds. So definitely worth it from the side of Rogue to be able to hold them off here. 2:10 remaining, not a lot of time to work with for the second phase of this map. And the fact that FaZe was forced to use all of their ultimates in the last engagement does not bode well. There's a Primal Rage to get this one started for Nox. He actually gets put to sleep, unfortunately. We'll have to see if he's able to make it out of this alive.
I just barely saw the Winston body fall from the sky, basically, as he got put to sleep. I was watching Nico's POV, but he's going to dive right onto Mikey A, who has no health left on his Diva suit, already at a disadvantage. FaZe falling now. Shadowburn getting killed in the backline by Nico and company. You've got Zoms now, the only DPS player, is going to go as well, and everyone's back in spawn. Rogue is still holding the cart at the first choke.
Nico is just tearing these guys up. He is making them look left and right, and Shadowburn tried to take care of him at 100 charge. He just couldn't get the job done, unfortunately. And another Dragon Blade at the ready. They do have a Graviton Surge to work with. If they can catch AKM and Nico inside of that, they'll be in a decent position, though. Nico, of course, is able to dash out of that one should he have it available. But this is looking really rough for FaZe because already a minute is drained off the clock again from the last time I talked about the time, Joshy. And they have to push that payload the entire distance. That's multiple teamfight victories.
And yeah, even if they do push it the whole way, extra rounds are a consideration, and time is not on their side. You get Graviton Surge. Oh, there are no extra rounds. Never mind. They didn't actually finish. They had tons of time, but didn't get it done. Shadowburn actually going to help his team break out here. Finally, the Graviton Surge is going to help them quite a bit. AKM is going to get powered down pretty low, but still manages to take out Shadowburn. Zoms able to help get the cleanup there. The cart's moving again, but 40 seconds is like nothing, and you got to expect Rogue with 4 ultimates to be able to win a fight by the end of this stretch.
Just when you think that everybody's dead from Rogue, all you have to do is Panda Soon. And
yeah.
just go around there every single time. Always toying with him, was finally put to sleep and taken care of. So 20 seconds remain. That's at least a solid 2 team fights that FaZe need to win here. And they have to deal with 4 to 5 ultimates on the side of Rogue. They have a few of their own. Pulse Bomb to get it started from Soon. Not able to find a kill, but Rockets almost goes down there. We're going to see a Transcendence come through there from Unko. AKM now with Attack Visor picks up a kill. We're in overtime, Joshy, and that should secure this one for Rogue.
It wasn't the most effective Dragon Blade ever, but that's okay because the rest of the ults did just fine. Forsaken is going to get focused down now on the cart as one of the last few FaZe members alive. And who does that leave? Fact Fiction actually only had about 2 HP there by the end, and overtime will drain down. Rogue are going to take the first game here on Eichenwald.
Impressive display from Rogue. Really have to hand it to FaZe, though. They did a lot better than I had anticipated. A lot better than I anticipated moving into that first map. So, you know, they definitely had some shining moments, and I think a lot. Well, let's see how it pans out for them and see what they're able to get done with it. as I believe, was it them against Liquid yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, where they took this to 5 rounds on Ilios, and I think they did play a little bit of Widowmaker, if I'm not mistaken. But AKM is going to be on that Widow as well, so Widow v Widow, Joshy, that is the dream, I think, here on Ruins.
AKM versus Shadowburn Widow duel. I'm watching AKM's perspective, and he nails a body shot there, but he actually passed right under the cursor under some foliage, so he couldn't actually see him until it was a little bit too late to get the kill. But we've got Nico actually falling pretty low health already, needs to back out just a bit. Zombs on the Winston is the only front tank here. Actually, no, Fact Fiction is going to be playing the D.Va this time, so no Reinhardt's in play. Nox is going to be the first one down. FaZe on the advantage just a little bit here. Shadowburn finds the headshot on AKM.
Yeah, I've just been watching AKM, and he's been landing a few shots, but had to deal with the Winston as well, unfortunately, from Zombs. And they're actually going to find another kill. Nico going to be taken down. So despite Rogue finding the first points, no, Nox comes back with the kill of his own. Do they still want to contest this one? They are deeply outnumbered, if I'm not mistaken here. It's like a 1-on-3 on this point. It's Nox still alive, gets D.Va out of the mech, finally going to be taken down. They will get the flip at 26%.
I hope the viewers liked my squeals of delight there. Shadowburn just popped off and got like 3 kills in about 10 seconds. The first one was Soon, right in his face, lobbing a pulse bomb at him, and he got the headshot. So it was a sick flick to get started, and then he just helps his team gather the rest of those kills on the point. That Winston at the end there was just the cherry on top, and they get the point back in their control. Now 20% for FaZe, 26 for Rogue. They're going to be running right back in here, of course, but it looks like AKM swapped off the Widow. He's been bested, or at least has conceded this part of the fight. AKM's going to go to Soldier instead.
Well, they're trying to deal with Zombs on the side here. Pulse Bomb's out there from IKA, not able to find a kill, unfortunately, for himself soon, though, and Nox forced to use the Primal Rage. He's in the back trying to deal with the Widowmaker, while the rest of his team takes everything on in the actually on the point right now, and they find a couple of kills for themselves. They have the numbers advantage. Rogue might have a flip here. Self-destruct is out, though. Can't Fact Fiction find anything.
Watching Soon's POV now, helping out a ton on the point, and Shadowburn versus Nox has been taking place in the background for a long time, but Nox did get the best of him. Shadowburn just now respawning and heading back to point. There's a nano boost used onto Nico's D.Va to help Rogue finally flip this point back. 60% for FaZe. Pretty darn good opener here for Ruins, so maybe they'll have a chance here to grab it back. Only a sound barrier available is not too great, but maybe Shadowburn can keep shooting their heads off.
Yeah, they really need to be careful about their positioning, and they're all just hiding behind the pillars because they know as soon as they peek their head out, Shadowburn's going to find them. He's nearing the infra site as well. He's got that in just a few seconds here, but the rest of the team going to go ahead and look for the engage. There's the sound barrier to get it started from Winston. AKM wasn't hit with it, unfortunately. Zombs under a lot of heat. Is he going to be taken down? Not quite going to be taken down. They do find the kill on the back, though. Shadowburn going to be dropped. They can finally look to move their heads around, but 2 still down for Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue actually committed Tracer and Winston to go deal with the Widowmaker, which I think is the right decision, but that Pulse Bomb again from Soon getting maximum value.
That didn't even stick anyone. It stuck the Winston shield, and they were both hanging around the outside of it, so he found the double kill with that one. 73% now, and a lead in favor of Rogue, and we see Shadowburn now with the infra site. He's going to have to come up clutch for his team.
Well, he's still on the Widow, and Rogue has 80%, so if he doesn't, it's going to look pretty bad for FaZe, but they are about to move into position now. I'm actually going to take Zomb's POV since he's probably going to be the one leading the action. They are going to protect their Shadowburn Widowmaker instead and flatten Nox pretty quickly there.
Yeah, that was a little rough there for Nox. He should have known that they might have just all pulled back for him. That's exactly what they did. They have the numbers now, but Shadowburn under a lot of pressure. Nano boost coming out onto Zombs as they try to turn this one around in overtime, Joshy. They get the D.Va out of the mech. Does Rogue want to actually commit with the ultimates? I'd be surprised if they do. I think they're going to back off, look for a full regroup, and then make the play.
Well, they've got the 99%. They've got the overtime ticker. If Rogue... Oh, they just lost 2 people. While I was saying that, there's a third. Unko goes down. So Soon is the only person even close to the point. He's going to get discovered here by Mikey A as well. I need to book it out of there. Even though Soon does have a pulse bomb, he's not a one-man army as Tracer, so he's going to back out of their FaZe, trying to get up to 100% themselves. But AKM with the tactical visor could put an end to this first point.
They're going to have to deal again with Shadowburn, who doesn't have this side up, of course, so they might be able to use that nano visor big from AKM. I'm looking for him to make an impact. This should be the final fight as they near that 100%. There's a pulse bomb, but AKM finds the first kill onto Mikey. Self-destruct is out there for Fact Fiction. He finds a kill, though. There's the nano visor. Oh, AKM actually gets booped back, gets put to sleep by Raucus, and now FaZe Clan have an opportunity to secure this round.
I'm zooming all the way out in third person now, and it's all FaZe on the point. Nox is going to leap in there. After AKM was put to sleep, that really put a hamper on their day as suddenly FaZe are up to 99%. They've got the impressive body count here, pretty high health against just Soon's Tracer at this point. Nano Boost is going to go out onto the D.Va suit, so Fact Fiction really can just look in the direction of Tracer, and hopefully they will be able to get it secured. But Wins is back as Lucio. They're going to keep this trickle going as long as they can.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do with it. AKM instantly dropped, though. Nico and Nox, neither going to be able to make it back, and FaZe Clan finding a little bit of a comeback there, taking that first round 199 on Ruins Joshi. And now that they're not going to be able to use the Widowmaker in the next couple of rounds, we'll see what sort of an impact that's not going to have for Shadowburn this time around.
Well, obviously with a change of stage, there's a change of heroes that make more sense, and we're on the Lighthouse now. Environmental kills abound for Winston's, Lucio's, and Pharah's. If Mikey A is going to stick with the Pharah, that would be cool to see. Shadowburn on the Sombra, I'm a little less convinced about. He's probably going to switch, I would guess, to a Zarya here. Actually, is pretty useful, but we'll find out, I guess. And Mikey A with Raucus on the Pharmacy combo, we'll have to see how effective they're going to be against AKM Soldier. No, AKM is actually going to swap now as well, and Unko over to the Mercy. So we got a air battle in store for us.
Looking forward to seeing some Farm Mercy set up here. We saw a lot of it yesterday from Liquid as well, so we'll see who's going to come out on top in this one. AKM finds the first shot, though, into Mikey A. There's a second one. Is he able to finish this one off? Not going to be the case, Joshi, but getting a little pressure here from Zoms and Shadowburn. Actually, Shadowburn, the first to fall here for FaZe, so Rogue opening up this second round on the right foot.
Yeah, the fact that DPS are down on both sides now is kind of interesting. The Pharah battle itself hasn't been too eventful so far. Mikey A's been on the kind of underhand of that, I think. Finally does plant the rocket right in AKM's face, and that's kind of what you need to do in those Pharah air battles sometimes. Just get right up in there and make sure you can't miss. But it is going to be FaZe really standing on the point right now. I don't know if they have the numbers to finish the fight out. Shadowburn's going to fall extremely low and does go down. Looks like Rogue will be in control soon.
It's unfortunate they weren't able to actually capture this one, mid-fight there. Self-destruct from Fact Fiction. He's really trying to keep this team alive in this fight, but I don't really know why he did that, Josh. He's pretty much in an impossible situation to get back. They're actually going to be able to come back into this one and still contest it. Surprisingly enough, Wins now coming through with the sound barrier, but the ults are clearly favoring Rogue right now, as it looks like they should be able to come through with the kill on the Raucus. They have a Resurrect, even if they do lose this fight.
Oh, wow, that is a good point, actually. The point hasn't even been claimed by either side yet, and you've already got Reses adding up. You've got D.Va Suit Explosion from Nico ready to go. Shadowburn actually has the blade available, but he's going to get smacked to death before he can actually get any use out of it, and it's still 0% to 0%.
Finally, they're going to be able to come through with that one. They did use a couple of ultimates. They used the sound barrier, but Wins is already back at 60%. Nox was forced to promo rage because he was actually knocked off the map, if I'm not mistaken. But still, a lot of ultimates going into the next fight. Both teams with Resurrects, and Rogue finally able to put some points on the board. Man, that was an extremely extended team fight that finally went in favor of Rogue. But now a sound barrier comes out there. Self-destruct to get it started as well comes through. Does he find any kills with it? Not going to be the case. Nico still. Unko the first to drop here. That's not good. They do return fire with a few of their own, but the Resurrect comes through from Rock.
Mikey A basically just got dunked on there by AKM, leaping right over the top of him, but the Resurrect brings him right back in. AKM plants an air shot before having to dip out himself because Unko's just not with him, and Mikey A gets a nice air shot there to finish him off. D.Va Explosion on the site means that FaZe might have a chance to flip it here soon. Is going to try his darndest to keep that from happening, though.
Yeah, they're going to try and see what they can do. Unko coming through with a Resurrect. Unfortunately, Nox had actually just died like a split second afterwards. There's the Pulse Bomb. Oh, Soon finds that pick down to Raucus. They're still holding on to the point. Sound Barrier again coming through from the side of Wins, able to help his teammate out. AKM has that barrage if he needs it, but no, not even going to be the case. Three of them still remain here on the side of FaZe, Josh, but it looks like Rose might actually secure this one unless AKM's taken down. Fact Fiction finds the kill onto him. It's such a bloodbath here.
Fact Fiction losing his D.Va suit probably should just hop away. Yes, he does, and they're all going to go back to spawn. Yeah, because they were down 3 men or something.
I thought he had a couple of people left with him there, and I thought he accidentally just kind of jumped off with the D.Va suit there. So.
It was kind of like a blender. People were just kind of dropping in one at a time and getting cleaved apart. So obviously they're trying to get that flip. They had kind of half of the momentum that they needed, but Rogue just kept getting 1 foot in the point, 1 foot in the point, able to contest long enough for everyone to get back. And Rogue, of course, are going to reap the benefits. They're at 91% now. One more fight will do it. And Mikey A is going to get right in the face of AKM again. I haven't favoring the Pharahs a bit here, but Diva Suit Explosion goes out, gets nothing. Soon and Nico find the first 2 kills, and Mercy is out of the fight now for FaZe.
Oh, Barrage comes through though. Mikey able to find that kill. Both supports are down from Rogue right now. Barrage up top there from AKM finds a kill before being dropped by Shadowburn. Self-destruct. Oh, Shadowburn gonna be taken down. It's just Nico and Soon remaining in this fight right now. It's a 2-on-1 against the Lucio. Can Fact Fiction get back in time? Doesn't look like that's gonna be the case, Joshy. And Rogue tie up Ilios 1-1.
Well, totally different story this time around. From the ruins to the lighthouse, we had as close as possible to as far away as possible. But the first fight itself, at least, was really entertaining and one of the longest contestings that I've ever really seen before a point gets, actually claimed by anyone. But we are moving into the well level now, the third and final stage of Ilios. Third different look, I should say, as it is 1-1. We're guaranteed at least a 4th round here. And on both sides, Pharahs and Mercies still locked in on both sides. I'm a little surprised. I guess not too surprised that Rogue are not employing a Genji of their own. If Nico's going to be playing the Diva, that is pretty valuable against what the other team is running. But I want to see some Genji on both sides, I think.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they make some changes halfway through this one if this doesn't work out for the side of Rogue. But, it worked last time. They didn't really need to make any adjustments. That was just a continuous stagger back to the point. I don't know how many, reset engagements there were in that last round. Maybe, a 2 or 3 at most. Usually you don't see that, to be quite honest. But to get things started soon, finding the first pick there, AKM also finding a couple of mid-air rocket hits there into Mikey A, but they lose 3 right away. Rogue getting off again to a nice start.
Just watching the way that Nox has been playing the Winston, I feel like he is kind of like a bodyguard, like Dial a bodyguard. Basically, Tracer can be like, hey, come save me. Winston jumps right over, helps finish off the target. Pharah says, hey, help me against this Diva. Winston just jumps right over. So he's like kind of just bouncing around. I mean, that is his role, really, to keep everyone nice and safe and help finish off low health targets. And he did it beautifully there. First fight goes cleanly to Rogue, and their ults are already coming online with Soon's Pulse Bomb. We've seen him get 2 for 1 often with this.
Looking for him to be a big playmaker again with this one. He's going to look maybe to put it onto the Winston. He does drop it. Doesn't find the kill, unfortunately, but already it's Zombs taking so much damage. He's going to be the first to drop again. They have a self-destruct even if they need it here, as they do lose Nox in this engagement. A 1-for-1 Joshy. Maybe an opportunity for FaZe to look for the flip.
Watching AKM now, we run Soon for the bulk of that fight. Oh, very nearly gets the kill on Mikey A, but the Diva Suit Explosion actually gets it instead. And Forsaken all the way up on top of the windmill there does get knocked in the face by AKM's rockets, and that's going to be Rogue continuing to build their lead 50% and chasing away this Diva. Should be a staggered kill for them.
Yeah, let's see how late they actually want to pick this one up. They're going to knock them all the way back. They do pick up the kill for themselves. Oh no, Nico going to be hit there by the concussive blast from Mikey A. Didn't have his jets to get himself back up out of the pit there. And now FaZe have a numbers advantage to move forward. They have the ultimates necessary. There's a 2. Oh my goodness, Mikey A comes through with the pick. The Resurrect comes through though from Unko. Wins immediately dropped as well. And FaZe now looking to get the flip. This should be easily in their pick.
Diva Suit goes out and explodes, but doesn't get anything. Unko and Soon actually get some kills instead. Pulse Bomb goes out, but so does Tracer, and Nox is going to be smacking people around now with the Primal Rage. He can get airborne a little bit and get in the face of Mercy. Very valuable. She's getting quite low on health, but it doesn't look like anyone's able to help Nox finish off that target. Rogue actually lose Diva in the process, and man, Nox is still trying to get this Mercy out of the sky, but the rest of his team really having to deal with the enemy tanks.
Got to remember, though, throughout this entire fight, it's been in Rogue's favor. So they're now at 99% to 0. FaZe finally going to be able to clean this fight up. And down 99, Joshy, that is going to be very difficult to come back from, especially since you used so many ults in that last fight. I guess you do have a couple ready to go. Raucus is closing in on his Resurrect, but Unko's a little ahead of him here. So this should still be in favor of Rogue, I think, moving into this next fight. I'm just looking for AKM to find an opening pick with that barrage.
Well, let's hop on over to AKM. He's lobbing some rockets across the field now at Pharah and Mercy. Mikey A gets right up into his face, but misses the point blank, and that's an important one. Nico, Explosion gets the kill on Mercy way up in the air. Sound Barrier comes out, and Barrage is going to be negated by the Diva Suit just a little bit here, but it's only 1 kill per side. Mikey A is going to get negated as well.
Oh my goodness, what a Resurrect from Unko. He brings them up while he is being barraged. So he gets himself the invulnerability, so takes no damage whatsoever from that one. Now we see AKM going into the back lines to take care of the Mercy, just ensure that Raucus doesn't have the Resurrect ready to go. This is going to be Rogue taking this point back in their favor and securing this third round.
Man, everyone on Rogue is so mechanically good. Like, Just anytime I switch to Soon, it's like, wow, his Tracer is immaculate. Wow, AKM planting those air shots every time.
Yeah.
Nico finding Diva Suit kills reliably, and that's Rogue taking another point there. Was it actually 100-0? No, FaZe did grab it back just for a moment, right?
Yeah, they put themselves at about 40 to 50%, if I'm not mistaken, because that last team fight was so long. These team fights are just extremely long, Josh. I'm really surprised that these teams have. It's taken them a little bit to clean it up. Of course, the Resurrects and the Sound Barriers come through, really get a full reset, I guess you could say. So not too terribly surprising. But 2-1 lead now for Rogue. FaZe, final opportunity to get themselves back into this series. They drop this round. They're going to be dropping the series 0-2.
Well, yeah, I think they're on the ropes at this point, and the fact that they're down in series score already in this group is kind of concerning. So FaZe, if they're going to get it together, this is the time. I haven't seen any real weaknesses out of Rogue yet, though, other than Shadowburn popping their heads off on the Ruin stage. So unless you can repeat that over and over, it's going to be a difficult time for you. AKM here on the Pharah again with the mid-air duels here. I'm actually going to focus on Zom's Tracer. We haven't actually seen a whole lot of action out of yet.
And Shadowbird now is on the Winston for himself here. So he's been really flexing over to some interesting picks here. Mikey A, though, finding 2 picks on the AKM and Unko. FaZe definitely needed to get out to a good start here if they wanted to be able to take this round. And with those 3 pickups, they should be able to secure the first points of the round.
Seems like FaZe are on top of things. Forsaken gets a nice finishing blow on Nox. Wins actually bites the dust on the way back to spawn. He can't get out in time, and it's going to be FaZe grabbing the point first. So different story for sure than what we saw last time with that incredibly long battle over who would get the first percentage. And FaZe, I think this is the first time they grabbed the point initially, so they should be happy to sit on this as long as possible. I think Mikey A should be able to keep lobbing rockets in and be in a good spot for dealing with the incoming attackers here.
No ultimates ready to go, though both teams are actually closing in on some of these. Another engagement coming through from Rogue. There's the first pick. It's going to be Rockets taken down. The wins will also drop here soon as trying to find a kill. Oh, Zoms with the pulse bomb finds the kill onto the Diva mech. Unfortunately, no follow-up to actually take Diva down in the midst of this soon, continuing to wreak havoc. Oh, self-destruct forced out, but he can't get back into the mech. I'm watching soon. He is lighting up this kill feed, Joshy.
Yeah, he's still going too. Shadowburn was the last victim on the point. I actually had Zoms there, and he was doing a decent job, but, you know, one stray rocket can basically just ruin your day if you're not at full health, and that's all that really had to happen. AKM still on the Pharah here with Unko. They're able to, again, be able to deal with these incoming attackers from range, and that's always obviously a nice benefit when you're already in control of the point. We've got Nico on the Diva getting up closer and closer to this Pharah, getting ready to shut down any barrages that might be incoming. And AKM going to get a long-range death there from Mikey A.
Soon actually not able to find anything with the pulse bomb here, but they do maintain control of the point. Raucus, of course, with the resurrect as well, so should they fall, he's got an opportunity to bring him back, though Unko is going to be taken down, and Raucus does have a little pressure being applied to him by Nox, but the rest of the team is able to clean this one up. Nox just going to go onto the point. No, doesn't even get there in time to contest, as it will be, again, FaZe Clan pulling this back in their favor.
Interesting, the Pharaohs on both sides are still being just kind of, I guess, not ignored, obviously. They're getting killed if they get too close, but there's not any prioritization against these damage amp rockets just flying in from both sides. You'd think whichever team would be able to shut down that offense a little bit better would be in control, but instead you're just seeing the point flipped constantly because the damage incoming is just too much, and they've been alternating ultimates pretty well. FaZe actually has 5 banked right now against only 1 from Rogue, so FaZe, this is their best shot at taking a round since that Ruins.
And to get things started, they pick up Nox again, so it's just going to push Rogue all the way back. No reason for them to even attempt to commit. Self-destruct is out there. Not really sure what Fact Fiction was hoping for there. Maybe to get the kill onto Unko, maybe be in range of that one. I think that definitely could have been saved, but 10 seconds to get to the point, Joshy. This is it.
I admit I didn't see what his health was like, but it could have just been to get a new suit, knowing that this could be the final encounter. I don't know all the details there, but we've got Fact Fiction actually on the point, absorbing Soon's shots. Nox is actually going to get powered down quite quickly, and Nico loses his suit as well. Still, both sides actually finding some kills, and AKM is still going crazy with this Pharah. Rez comes in, and it's a big one for FaZe.
Unfortunately, AKM wasn't able to get the kill there onto Raucus. He tried his best, but a few rockets just not hitting it. Mikey now with the barrage, is he able to find anything? A bit of damage coming out there onto the Primal Rage Winston, but Pulse Bomb sticks and he finds the kill. Nox did pick up a kill in the end, but FaZe Clan tying this one up 2-2 now, heading to a 5th and final round.
Good stuff there, making it interesting for sure on Ilios. Fact Fiction actually had a bit of an oopsie there at the very end. He was flying into Mercy's face to try and get her separated away from the point and actually flew off the side. Couldn't actually scrabble his way back up and lost the Diva suit, but it didn't matter because FaZe were in control of the point. They're able to get the kills they needed and force it back here to Ruins. I really don't expect Shadowburn to hop back on Widowmaker just because it's probably expected, and yep, prove me wrong there. Shadowburn, good luck, buddy, and Rogue is going to be pretty much dive again. Actually, no, 2-2-2. No Genji this time around either.
Ooh, Shadowburn actually going to be on the Winston again here. So not going to... Zoms is going to be breaking out the Widowmaker here. So they're going to be changing that up a little bit here. See what they can make of this one. But this time around, AKM isn't starting on the Widowmaker. He's on the 76 like he did last time. And I think it put them at a little bit of a deficit that he was on Widowmaker to get that one started. So I like the pick of him on 76. They just got to find a way to deal with Zoms.
So far, Zoms, he's been laying into the Diva suit and the Winston as much as possible because none of the squishies have really given themselves away. Soon is actually going to get bopped down pretty quickly there by Mikey A's Tracer, so that's a nice pickup for FaZe, as it looks like they have the numbers to be able to claim this point first.
And that should be, yeah, AKM just going to back out of this one. So is Nico, maybe looking for a suit reset. He might actually just jump off the map or go back into the spawn and get the reset here. So a decent start, actually a really good start for FaZe Clan. They need to take this round, Joshy, to head to a third game.
All right, we're watching Zoms now from atop this column, trying to snag any incoming squishies if he can. Winston and Anna are on the right side. He knows that because he did watch them walk over there. We'll see who actually addresses that. It looks like it's going to be Fact Fiction actually up in the face of this Winston, and soon.
Yeah, they have intro side up as well, and Zom's now in a rough spot. They see where he's at right now. We'll see if he can find any picks for him. Nox is under a lot of pressure, though. He's under, maybe he's going to be taken down. No, is able to get out of this one alive. Nano Boost is out there. Zoms is going to be taken down, unfortunately, but Shadowburn is in the front line. He's got the Nano Boost. He's going to pop the Primal Rage now, trying to knock them off the map there. They do find one. Unko going to be taken off the map by the Winston, Tashi. And again, FaZe Clan should be able to...
Yeah, Shadowburn doing a nice job there with the Primal Rage. 50% gathered up for them now, and Nox, Wins actually is going to be the last one tased down there by the Tesla cannon of Shadowburn. And Zoms, I don't know, he's not like snagging tons of headshots, he's not like popping off like crazy, but he's still that passive threat that people have to react to, and Rogue have really been unable to grab the point back. They're kind of scattered on ults as well, but Nano Visor could definitely get the job done here, especially with that sound barrier if they want to commit everything.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and pop that one to get... Oh, man, Soon's already taken down by Mikey A. They don't even have any ultimates to work with on the side of FaZe. There's the Nano Visor coming through. Finds one pick, looking for the Diva. The Defense Matrix actually in his face. Forsaken on the danger of actually falling here. But finally, Rogue able to turn this one back around. We might see a stagger to the point to get up to 99% for FaZe, but Rogue should be able to make the flip here.
Forsaken lived a little bit longer than he should have, but yeah, there was no way he was getting out of there with such little health, and soon comes right back into the action, helping to take out Fact Fiction. Shadowburn and Mikey A go down as well, and Rogue have flipped it, but they have to hold on to it for a full 100% here, or actually drop game number 2 to FaZe, and they obviously don't want to do that. They want the clean sweep, so we've got Soon up in the face of everybody already with the Pulse Bomb ready to go.
FaZe really seeming to excel on the King of the Hill maps here. There's a pick, like you said, headshot coming out there. Soon going to be taken down. Sound barrier now to initiate from Forsaken, trying to win this one right here. Self-destruct is out there. Nico not able to find anything, unfortunately, for himself, but Forsaken's under a lot of pressure as well. He's going to be taken down. A fighting chance, I think, for Rogue. Primal Rage out again from Shadowburn. Is he going to be taken down? He's under a lot of pressure right now. In the end, though, it's pretty back and forth.
Ooh, just before landing on the full heal, Shadowburn gets taken out. AKM gets that last little shot. Actually, Unko was able to get the last shot on him as he was falling back toward the ground there, and Rogues stay in control despite losing their Tracer immediately, are able to hang on.
And Fact Fiction finally going to be dropped here. And what do you know, Joshy? 50% on the board here for the side of Rogue. Very well in their territory of being able to take this game. Another team fight or two. Zom's actually going to go ahead and pop the Infrasight again, so we'll see how what he's actually able to make of this here. I think he needs to find these picks on the Soon and AKM, otherwise they're going to struggle with that Nano Visor at the ready.
Well, all they have to do is stay inside the pit, really. And there's a Winston leaping up in the face of Zoms. very nearly does fall, and he does actually go down in the end to just some stray damage from Fact Fiction. Shadowburn going to get focused down there. Nice shots from AKM to keep Rogue's hopes alive, and Mikey A is going to eat the tactical visor. Zombs getting focused, can't stay on his perch either. Forsaken has been a bit aggressive with the Lucio, has been dying pretty early in these fights as a result, but it is going to be Rogue hanging on. 10% to go, and FaZe are on the ropes.
Yeah, Fact Fiction isn't even here. They have 7 seconds, and Nano Boost is ready to go. Self-destruct from Fact Fiction's all they really have to work with. Nano Boost is going to be on the AKM to try to punch out that damage. Oh, the first pick comes through. Shadowburn's the first to drop. Mikey A going to be taking that on as well. Fact Fiction, what was that ultimate? He throws it, and there's no one even around him. Zombs taken down at max range from the Helix coming out from AKM, and Rogue turn this one in their favor. Joshy being down 98-0. They take round number 5, and they're going to be taking the series 2-0.
All right, well, we did get a little bit of that excitement we talked about before the series, and